what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another episode of The Mandalorian. Episode number 5, we are talking about The Pirate, and IMDb gave it an 8.5. That is not a bad rating. I was saying, we were talking a lot offline, and I was saying that this episode felt a lot like a Mandalorian episode, correct?
Yeah, it got back to the essence of the Mandalorians doing cool things, looking like bounty hunters, using their weapons and armor. And, it was a good shootout, too, in the city. All that stuff was cool. Having strategy about how they're going to get into there, take down the pirate thing. All that was cool. I think that the problem they've had more so than anything else is that they've had a lot of boring episodes.
Yeah.
So when finally good happens, it's kind of like, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing ever. But it should have been consistently great this entire time.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's you know what, that is such a good point because you sort of took us down this weird path over 4 episodes, and then you hit us off with like in the middle of like all the season with episode number 5, which felt a little bit like a Mandalorian episode. And I was just like, okay, but what is the next episode, the next 3 episodes? What are they going to look like? And, you also said something where offline, and you were saying like, from, how the second season ended, the third season should have picked up with Moff Gideon, right? I mean, like in this episode, they showed like, the ship he was on, he was being transported on it, someone, basically, went in and hijacked him. They came in and they took him, right? Why not show us?
Yeah, that's
right.
I would have rather seen that than you guys walking around the castle eating space lollipops. Like, come on,
right?
That seems like something interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give us like a 30-minute episode, that would have been a good 30-minute episode right there.
Yes,
right.
The escape that would have been way more interesting. You're right.
So
and then to do it off screen and it's like it happened already. Like that's why.
Yeah, and
it's a waste.
Something else that was really interesting in this episode was how the fighter, I forget, like he's not a rebel fighter, is he? The guy who came and went to the covert and found the Mandalorian.
Yeah, he's I guess they're not a part of the
New Republic.
Alliance.
They're New Republic, right?
New Republic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, he was like, the Mandalorian wanted the drone that, he went into battle with, but he couldn't do that. So he just got like a New Republic drone.
Robot,
right, exactly. But he didn't, right, but he didn't know R5, I think the droid was called. He didn't know that these droids are totally connected to the New Republic's military.
How do you? Okay,
come on.
That when he said like, oh yeah, this guy serves me in the army, I was like, what? Wait, how did you know that this guy had this particular droid and where it was?
Yeah,
because like they're not close by, like he's downtown Atlanta or something like that. This guy's he's in a different galaxy.
Yeah.
How do you find this robot? It's such the way he said, oh yeah, we just found you because I worked with this guy. What? They didn't make any sense. That I lost it when I saw that. I was like, this is dumb. Yeah, there's no way that you could be able to track a droid like that.
Yeah. I will say though, right? And again, we've given, I mean, 1 through 4, episodes 1 through 4 of season 3 of The Mandalorian, I think 5s. And I think you may have given like one episode a 3.5 or something like that. But we have not gone beyond a 5, right?
Yeah.
And so now they hit us off with this episode, and it was a good episode, but it was
a better episode.
Yeah, but it's disappointing that this is The Mandalorian and we get Mando-esque episode at episode number 5. Very disappointing.
Trash. It's trash.
Very disappointed, dude.
Because the thing is, like, as far as like storyline goes, I don't care about 2 people that were part of the Empire eating lollipops in the Coruscant. I don't care about that. And I'm not interested that he wants to continue his work. Not interested in that. That's something you could just done a throwaway line. You have to devote a whole episode to that. Now, the Moff Gideon escaping, that's interesting. The Mandalorians trying to form an alliance with another planet, that's interesting. Fighting the pirates is interesting. This stuff, I know they're trying to connect it to this grand scheme for the other movies and all this other stuff, but the Mandalorian is better suited as its individual thing
Its own
that happens
thing.
to be in this universe.
Hmm.
That's a better way for the show to thrive.
Yeah.
When you're trying to fit it into the movies and the Cartoon Network stuff, and it's like make it its own thing. Because Star Wars is giant, it's vast. Just having some characters in there that kind of relates to us, kind of remember this thing, that's cool. But trying to fit this into the story, the character that should be a small time character that you shouldn't even know exists, is dumb. Because it's basically trying to connect everything together to keep you on watching, and it's not working right now. Like the Boba Fett thing, does that didn't help?
It's over.
Didn't help sell Star
It's
Wars.
Boba Fett is over. You know, but
Yeah.
you make a good point because okay, so while they're making these like spin-offs from the in part of the Star Wars franchise, some of this
Hmm.
stuff has to overlap. Now, we were speaking about this last time we did a Mandalorian review where
Hmm.
the clone world is destroyed, Camino, right? It's
Hmm.
destroyed. In the Mandalorian, they want to take the clone technology to clone people, right? In the Bad
Yeah.
Batch, they want to take it to create, super clones, basically super clone fighters. So
Hmm.
again, that's the overlap, right? But they're totally different too, right? In the animated world, they're just trying to create like a super clone warrior. And like the real world, they're trying to create, like clone humans. How is that going to
Hmm.
translate once a new movie comes up? And, because there has to be clones in the new movie, right?
Well, they said okay. Did you watch the last Star Wars movie, the Skywalker thing,
The,
the
well,
last one with
not the
the
last hope.
Ray and
Oh,
Finn? No, no, no.
with
The
Adam
last
Driver. Yeah, I did
episode
watch that.
9,
I did watch that. But,
episode 9.
mhm,
So they're implying that the that this is kind of connected to they're implying that the cloning is kind of connected to that universe or the overall Star Wars story.
mhm.
Kind of like the emperor is kind of cloned or whatever. And they're implying that this is kind of connected, whatever. But like, I just don't care. This stuff needs to be, like you have Star Wars. I mean, you have when you have Marvel movies, you have your Thor, is like godlike superpower, whatever. And you have your
Mhm.
Spider Man, who's just a regular guy. He's fighting bank robbers and just small time people. Mandalorian needs to be the small time thing that's in this vast universe that's not dealing with this super big issues.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
just the small bounty hunting, whatever you're doing, whatever. Have it be a small time little thing that's going on here. Trying to interact with the overarching bigger storyline is terrible because it doesn't work. It's just not interesting as a character because he's a lone guy.
Yeah.
It's not it doesn't work. For as far as the writing and storytelling goes, it doesn't. It's not effective,
Yeah.
and that's in my opinion.
I'm trying to figure out like the woman, the Imperial soldier, Ilana Kane, I think her name is, right? What's her
Mm.
deal? I mean, why is she important to this whole Mandalorian thing? Is she a spy? I mean, what is her deal? What's going on with her?
She's clearly still evil. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. You can't look at her and be like, oh no, she's a good person. Like, no, she's clearly still evil.
yeah.
Because
So I'm just
she's
like,
like, yeah,
I
don't help
don't.
those people out. They don't need any help. Like what?
When I saw her, I kept thinking about Andor, how the military, the woman who was part of the military, and the guy who
Mm,
lost his job, and he was trying to get back to her, and they sort of like connected a little bit, in their eyes, like
yeah, yeah.
I was just like, there was some realism there, right? And
Mm,
they brought those two people along in the entire season, right? This
mm,
person, Ilana Kane, if I'm pronouncing her first name right, or Elia Kane, she appeared in two episodes, right? One was a 40-minute episode, the other one is this episode. Again,
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who is she and why is she important. Again, like the person who left a comment, he said that he thinks that this is a slow burn. Who is she? Tell me. We got 3 episodes left. Who is
I
she?
I think it's slow burn. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
bro. This is
Mhm.
poor writing. Because the things that make you a slow burn would be the Moff Gideon thing. That's a slow burn.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like this thing, he escapes, and you'll hear about him for the next 5 episodes. Slow burn.
Right.
I don't care about this lady in Corsa. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't. You can't make me care about it either. Like
You know,
whatever you're telling me, the storyline is just not interesting.
why not okay, and it'd be really sad if we see Moff Gideon at the last episode, right? But why
Mhm,
not have him? And I know this is episodic, this is not serialized, right? But why not
mhm.
have Moth? Why not insert Moth Gideon episode number one, and then throughout all the episodes, sort of serialized, you're running around trying to find this guy, but Moth is also swissing stuff up, as he travels from planet to planet.
That's good story writing. This is
Yeah.
terrible story writing.
Pay me,
I
dude.
don't
I'm
want to see
gonna
a bunch of
send Disney my
alligator,
invoice for real.
Big Bird. I want to see none of this stuff.
Yeah,
This is the problem. They have all of these things that are boring and unconnected to the full storyline.
yeah.
And so far, like the storyline in Coruscant, you're gonna try and connect it together, but you've made it so boring and uninteresting that I don't care about your yellow biscuits. Like this dumb. All this is dumb. This is
Biscuits.
not making me think about Star Wars. Eh?
Biscuits. So I will say this though. So just getting to
Mhm.
the episode wasn't bad. I mean, it felt a
It was
lot like a
okay.
Mandalorian episode. I mean, it looked great. Special
Yeah,
effects were really cool. There was a nice battle. The pirate ship was bananas, wasn't it? It was just like, oh my goodness, this thing is like serious. This is what I
yeah.
think, right? And I alluded to this just a little bit last week, right? I
Mhm.
kind of think that Bo Katan, they're thinking about doing something with her, Bo
It's
Katan.
gonna turn into her show, and Mandalorian's gonna be relevant. It's gonna be her show now.
Do you think
I
though?
guarantee it.
Let me ask you this here. Do you think she can have a spinoff? Because, and the reason why I'm asking you this is because
Mhm,
Ahsoka Tana.
mhm.
That's just not going to hit for me. That's not. She should have. You leave her an animated character where she was like kicking butt. That's it, right?
Mhm,
But if you had another sort of show that you introduce into this franchise and you wanted to have a woman lead it, right? Bo Katan is it because remember, she was already on a throne. Her family was on a throne. Now
yeah.
she's able to
Well,
be on the throne, and also because
this
she
is the
lived in both
problem.
worlds, she can wear a helmet or no helmet.
They wasted the spinoff on Boba Fett. They
Yeah,
should have made it about her.
yeah,
That would have been fine if they made it about her and skipped the Boba Fett nonsense. This would have been cool as spinoff because she's a great character. Everyone loves Katie Sackhoff.
everyone
I don't know
loves
anybody who
Katie.
doesn't like her.
Yeah,
So like this is it. Like it would have been a great thing to have her lead on her own thing. She's gonna end up taking over this show,
yeah,
and it's no longer gonna be about Mando, Din Djarin, whatever his name is. It's not gonna be about him anymore.
yeah.
It's gonna be she's gonna take over. I can feel it, and I can see it already. And it if it makes it more interesting, then okay, cool. It's a shame that he loses his own show, but they have to do something because this is whatever this is. It's not working to me.
Right. I also think they may have cornered themselves because the show
Mhm,
is called The Mandalorian, right? And it's based on one person trying to become a Mandalorian, right?
mhm.
The Mandalorian could have been how Mandor is rebuilt. Because right now, what's
Yeah.
happening is Bo Katan, the armorer, said, we need you to go out and get those who, walk the light with helmets
Mhm,
on and those who don't without helmets on because she lived in both worlds, right? It makes a lot
mhm.
of sense, right? And why introduce that if something bigger, much bigger, isn't coming forward down the line?
Well, they said that the pilot said that there's a Beskar armor inside that ship when they
Yeah.
found out that the ship was destroyed. So
Mhm.
clearly, there's more Mandalorians involved here.
Mhm.
That like another sect that's doing something. So obviously she's going to be the ones to bring them together, which is fine. Like that's an okay thing to build the show around.
Mhm.
But we spent so much time on nonsense.
Right.
Like so like when he finally gets good, the season's going to be over. When you finally get the what the point of the show was supposed to be, the show's going to be done.
Yeah.
And are you going to be here next year or next season?
Well, okay. If they come out with the well, okay, let me just tell you this here.
Mm-mm.
The next 3 episodes, I think it's 8 episodes total. The next 3 episodes, man, they better be 50 minutes long, and they better be
Mm,
banging, all three, for me
mm.
to be into Mandalorian season 4.
Yeah, I agree.
You
I
know,
agree.
if you're
Their
giving me one
storylines are gonna be
episode,
spectacular.
yeah. If you're giving me one episode, if you're giving me out of those 3 episodes, one where everything is like popping,
Mm.
no, it's gonna,
Yeah, but
yeah,
this goes back to the fact that they've wasted 4.5 episodes and nothing.
nothing.
Literally nothing's happened. Nothing of interest has happened, I should say.
Mhm.
Not nothing's happened, but nothing of interest.
Right.
So when you finally get to this part of this thing, the groundwork should have been done way in advance. So that you get to this point where like I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next. We're season's basically done now. You only
It's
have a couple
basically
more
done.
shows. And
S
now you're gonna actually get started on the real storyline. Dumb. This is a
Mhm.
terrible storyline and planning. It felt like they're winging it, to be honest.
It
They
kind of
they
feels
didn't
that
sit
way,
down and write this out.
Something else that was really silly was like when Nevarro was being hit by the pirates, you know, Karga was like, everyone to the lava flats. And when he said that, I
Mhm.
was like, wait a minute, the lava flats as in flat lands, right? Here's a ship
I have a question
that's
about
blowing
that.
people, that's blowing like like destroying your entire city. And you
Mhm.
don't think they're gonna come out to the flats and kill
If
everyone
he
out
can't
there?
see you, like
Right, exactly.
but
So I'm just like, what's going
let me
on
ask you
there?
something.
What's up?
How long did that siege take? Because the pilot hears about it. He flies to Coruscant. Coruscant says no. He flies over to the plant where the Mandalorians are. They're like, yeah, let's have a meeting first with
Yeah.
they had the
Hmm.
conch, the hammer conch. They're passing it around, airing out their grievances. So they do that, and then say, hey, let's all help them. Then a couple of them get into the ship and fly over to the plane. How long does this thing take?
Well,
It had to have been days.
yeah,
It had to be.
but well, there is a
And
lot of stuff
the
that
way
they
they
leave
filmed
out
it,
here.
they made it.
Hmm.
But the way they filmed it, they made it look like this all happened in a couple hours.
Right, exactly.
But
Hmm.
this had to have taken days to do. There's no way he could plan all these. I know it's a faster than light travel, and you could do a hyperspeed, whatever, whatever. I get all that, but that still takes time. Like they're going in hyperspace to go someplace else takes time. It's not instant. It's not folding space. So to go these other places, he's got to get out of the ship. He's got to rock around the planet. He's got to go find these guys. He's got to talk to them. They're gonna have a meeting. A lot of this stuff takes place. He's
Yeah,
got to get back in hyperspace. We don't know where these planets are is adjacent to each other. I know Coruscant's far away. I know that. Coruscant's way far away.
yeah,
These
hmm,
guys are in outer rim. So they took a minute to fly over there and come
yeah.
back. How
Hmm.
long did the siege take?
It
This
definitely,
is terrible
it
planning for how
it
they shot
definitely,
this
it
episode.
definitely felt like his travels from 3 different planets only took a few hours. It definitely felt like that.
It, it's impossible.
Yeah,
If it made it like night, the siege was going on, it was night, and then it came back to the next day, I'm like, okay, cool. But like it made it seem like maybe 20 minutes happened. These guys left. And another thing that made me laugh about this episode is that there's like 20 people that live in this city. We're the people in the city.
he was
They're
like,
not dead.
he's like everyone to the lava flats, and like when everyone was out there, it looked like it was just like 50 people. Like you just said, I was just like,
Maybe
where's the commerce?
tops, tops
Where's
50
I was
people.
just like, come on, what's really interesting about this episode is
Mhm,
um on Nevarro, the Mandalorians now have a swath of land that they can
mhm.
now, build their own second Mandalore, right? Or just a place where,
Yeah,
people can come out of hiding, right? Um,
they were already there though.
yeah,
They just came back.
right, exactly. So, and I'm just like, you know what? This is interesting right here because now you have the Mandal. This is an independent city, Now you have the
Mhm,
Mandalorians who can protect this city, right? And they now kind of have a base of operations as well. Like, where are they going? Who are they trying to, protect?
mhm,
Whatever, and it's just like, okay, so now they don't have to hide in caves. Now Bo Katan
mhm.
doesn't have to hide, on this castle all by herself in the
She
middle of the
don't,
ocean.
she don't have a castle
She
anymore.
doesn't have a
And you
castle
know what?
anymore.
It's a step up from Alligator Planet and Big Bird
Yeah.
Planet. Like this is
Hmm.
a step up.
Yeah.
But like, how come this planet has no defenses? They have nothing. Battery, you're on the outer rim. You have to deal with pirates and stuff like this all the
No
time.
army,
It's not like
nothing.
a one-off.
Hmm.
You don't have any weapons on the planet to protect yourself,
No,
and
yeah,
you're supposed to be a trading area or a high traffic area where people trade. That makes no sense.
it makes no sense.
None.
I wasn't like I said, man. I was not mad at this episode. I watched it 3 times. And I,
Mm,
the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, this is Mandalesque. This is Mando-esque, right? And then the second time I was like,
yeah.
why, why didn't we have more of this?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the third time, I'm like, I'm kind of upset because I don't understand the previous 4 episodes.
Mm,
I don't. I just
it was a
don't.
waste.
You know,
Waste of time.
and Grogu didn't
Absolute
have a
waste.
big part in this joint either. I think eventually, if you took away Grogu, let's say we have the
Mm,
Mandalorian, okay, and then all of a sudden you take away Grogu, what does the
mm.
Mandalorian feel like now that Grogu is gone?
It's a confusing, empty show
Hmm.
that has no direction.
Yeah,
Like the Grogu storyline, that's a very focus driven thing, and he finished it, and then the show kind of lost direction after season 2. Like it kind of doesn't know what it wants to be now. Like if you're gonna change it to like the whole Mandalorian, the planet or like the people, like that's a huge departure from bounty hunter finding this kid decides not to kill it.
right.
Like that's a
Hmm.
huge departure from that.
Yeah,
Like if you're gonna go that route, you have to make the next storyline that you change this thing into be better than the original storyline, because the original storyline was great. Like
It's-
everybody was interested in the original storyline. Like what's gonna happen next? Who's
yeah.
trying to go get Grogu today? Like
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like they had a big bounty on his head. Like there's a lot of things going on that made every show that was going on interesting because what could happen. Now everything's good. No one's looking for Grogu anymore. Everything's straight. He's just like he's chilling on the porch, eating, drinking tea. Like that's what it looks
That,
like.
that's it,
There's no adventure.
and eventually he will become a Mandalorian and have a Mandalorian helmet and
That
Vescar and
is
all this other stuff.
ridiculous.
So, with his
That is
baby hands.
ridiculous. That's silly on his face. The
Yo,
puppet with the armor. That is silly.
with the
They should
ears
never
coming
go that
out,
route.
with the ears coming out.
Right?
Yo, let's
Dumb.
let's uh
Dumb.
let's wrap this up, man. The
Mhm.
Mandalorian episode number 5, The Pirate. What are you rating this episode, Keo?
I give it a 6 because it was better, but it's not an 8 because they wasted the last couple shows on frivolous nonsense. And so, like, it would if the last couple shows had been more focused and organized and more interesting, this would easily be an 8. But because the last shows have been so terrible, it's a 6 to me because you guys got to still prove yourself now. With
Yeah.
next week is going to be more walking and talking in the city. Like, what do we get?
Mhm.
We don't know. So far, it's been okay-ish to terrible to okay-ish to terrible to okay-ish again. They need to get a good groove here for the show. What do you think about it?
You know, if everything was on point, like you just said, 5 episodes,
Mhm.
they were kind of good. I would have given this episode an 8.5, but I'm not. And
Yes.
it's because the other 4 episodes were ridiculous. They were dumb. There was no cohesion there. So I'm also giving this episode a 6. This was a good episode. Don't front, right?
Mhm.
This was a good
Yeah, it
episode.
was
It looked
good.
good the whole nine. But you know what? You can't take us on this roller coaster. I'm talking about the writers and the directors, right? Give us four
Mhm.
episodes of crap and then come back with a real Mandalorian esque episode. And
Mhm.
then, it's just like, I don't know how to, like, sort of rate this. And the other thing is this, right? I also noticed that episode number 3, the episodes that I'm really interested in are the episodes with
Mhm.
Bo-Katan in them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's better. For
yeah,
sure it's better. She's
because
good. She's a fleshed out character.
yeah, and I just think that there is something that's going to pop off with Bo-Katan. I don't
Mhm.
know if it's in The Mandalorian. I don't know if it's a totally different show. I don't know if they're going to say, okay, The Mandalorian is the people moving
I think
forward.
that's where they're going, to
It's
be
not
honest.
like Din Djarin. It's just not him because
Mhm.
to call the show The Mandalorian, but it's about one person. That's kind of
Mhm.
ridiculous, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous. So we both gave The Mandalorian episode number 5, The Pirate, a 6. And we
Mm.
both did so because the other 4 episodes did not have cohesion.
Did not get the mustard. No.
Right, you know? Well,
Mhm.
there you have it, another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.